Alright, welcome. We are moving into turn 3 here of Battles in the East, Volume 1, Bagration Stop Scenario. So like I said, we are moving into turn 3, but there is something critical I didn't catch until I did the Soviet turn. This turn, some events happen while these 3 armies or 4 armies will run out of attack supply at the end of the turn, and it gets a little tougher for the Russians. But the other thing is, which I didn't take into account with my defensive lines, is the Hungarians are gone, 5, 12, 23, and we do see that they are positioned in critical positions here, down in the southern part of the board, around the Vistula. So these 3 divisions are going to go away, and what happens then is these units have 0 attack, which means these units by themselves have no zone of control, which means 8th Guard, instead of throwing themselves at these guys, is going to go through them like water. You're going to see that in the Soviet move. So for this summary, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to take a look at the supply situation, and then we're going to look at the Soviet initial move, and then I'll save for the next video the actual attacks, because there'll be a number of them. But yeah, I didn't catch this until I came down here and analyzed the Soviet move and said, wait, there's no zone of control here. And again, this changes anything. Initially thought they were going to be held here a little longer. 39th Panzer Corps was going to come down, Hermann Göring, and pretty much roll up their flank after mauling the Poles here. But that may not be the case, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. And we are back, with no commercial break. First phase we want to talk about is checking news and supply. In general, the only units out of supply here, which I didn't notice, you can't trace supply through swamps. So these units here are going to be out of supply for the turn, which may not be critical because they're not going to be used in the attack. These units coming down here from 8th Guard are in supply, so pretty straightforward there. And you can see now I have withdrawn the Hungarians, and here we go. No zone of control here. Actually, this is the hole right here that the Russians are going to run right through with 8th Guard infantry divisions. And we'll see that in the initial move. But we come up here, and again, at least for the Germans, let's see, 9th SS Panzer, trying to get it, where is the guy? There he is, 4th SS Panzer Corps, remains out of supply with a handful of units from the 2nd Army in here with them. Again, out of supply. And as we saw with the German, they couldn't move and they can't attack. If you're out of supply, you can't attack. And you can't move Zoc to Zoc, so pretty much the Soviets keep them pinned here. But immediately out of the box, the Russian 2nd Tank, because the headquarters unit's been supplied, put all of the 2nd Tank Army units out of supply. Now, the main thing that's going to do is cut their movement in half, round it up, actually. But combat supplies determined at the instant of combat, and the 47th Army with these 2 independent tank brigades is positioned to come up here and potentially, and some of these units pulling back, restore supply, and then we'll kind of get into quite a battle here in the center. So we'll see how that plays out. And this unit right here became trapped at the end of last turn. So that's pretty much looking at supply now. So with that said, let's move on and see how the Russians take advantage of this situation. And we are back for the Soviet movement, and now we do see how the Soviets, you can see the movement trails too, take advantage of this hole right here. That's the hole. And bottom line, these units are able to move through this hole and expand here, and even straight down the river, this minor river here, going right for Radom. Down here, the Soviets remain in place. They're going to do another attack. But up here, these units extend to allow the 8th Guard to completely cross the Vistula. And we've positioned the headquarters units right here, and that puts everybody, because these units have no zone of control, puts all of these units, well, at least these units here and this unit here, in attack supply. And the Soviets are planning attacks here, surrounded. Looks like we can do here, and these units will be out of supply because of Soviet zones and controls. And here, this unit will not be out of supply though. So maybe they won't attack here and we'll have to run the odds. But again, this one hole here, because the Hungarians disappeared with no zone of control coverage, whoosh, out go at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Soviet divisions of the 8th Guards go through the hole and exploit out here. Now we'll see with the Germans if German Panzer can come down and save the day. And the other good thing about next turn is that'll be the 4th turn, and the Soviets can only pick one army besides the reinforcing 70th coming on board over here that can be an attack supply. So just in time for the Germans, I guess. Then we move up here, and the 47th comes around the corner. Some units have to be committed to keeping these guys, the 4th SS and 2nd Army pocketed, which they did. And they're probably going to attack up here. We'll see, I'll run the odds, but the big thing is right here, the battle. And thanks to Soviet units here, the Guards Army will be in general supply. And then anybody within 5, which will be these units, will be in supply for the attack. So they're probably going to take on these two here, who are now out of supply themselves. And then let's see, up here, just continue to maintain contact to slow them down. This doesn't look like the actual move. I'm going to have to revisit this. These guys should have moved up one. There we go. I'll save that. But probably going to reduce this guy. But it looks like we want to do an attack here because these mech units may have broken field running. So the limited attacks up here will probably occur here. Yeah, these guys will attack here. Let's see. Yeah, if these two guys attack here and this guy dies, we potentially have a Zoc-free zone here for this guy. He's quartered, unfortunately, which means he's only going to move 1, so not too much of an advantage, but maybe we can get to this open field here. So, and I didn't mention the roll for air support was a 5, so the Germans have Stukas this turn for an attack. But again, not sure where they're going to use it. So yeah, this was interesting. Didn't realize this. And learned this the hard way. The Hungarians pulling out, they were right in a critical portion of the line here. So, lesson number 1, plan for the Hungarians leaving. And then up here, as predicted, we're getting a free-for-all. And luckily for the Germans, next turn, yeah, at the end of this turn, all of these armies go to general supply. 70th comes in over here in attack supply. And then the Soviets can only pick one army on the board for attack supply for 3 turns also. So I think that'll limit the Soviets to 2 armies in attack supply in the 4th turn. So we'll see how that works out. So I think we're almost at 10 minutes now. I'll end it here. And then I'll spend a little time looking around and doing the attacks. Going to be doing a lot of calculations, so maybe I'll do it live, but we'll see in the next video. So, Soviet breakthrough in the south, free-for-all in the center, and these units are still pocketed to German 4th SS. But next turn, the Soviets run out of supplies for a lot of their armies. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the next one.